Welcome to worship. I am Carol Zond, and it is good to worship with you this morning and to welcome you here. And if you're listening online, we would like for you to make a comment on the comments box. Now, if this is your first time to worship at Kingswood, we are really thrilled you're here, and we'd love to get to know you. And there is a QR code up there, and it's in your bulletin. And I've actually learned how to use it too. I mean, I don't use it, but it's there. There is also a physical card in the back of the pew, and if you will sign that and put in the offering plate or at the back out on the table as you leave. Now, when you complete this information, $10 will be donated to Hillcrest Transitional Housing, and that's in your honor. And Hillcrest is an organization we partner with that helps families in Kansas City with resources and tools that they need to have stable housing and to have complete lives. I have a few announcements to make, actually 3 of them. The first one is on VBS, and it's about VBS registration. And the VBS is coming up July 8th to the 12th. And the space is limited, so we need you to register. And there's a link on what's happening, or you can contact the church office at 816-942-1729, or you can also just contact somebody to get more information. Now then, I want to talk about KC Bites. And if you don't know what that is a meal that the pastors are doing once a month at a restaurant. And you go and join them. You can take a friend, and you pay for your own meal. But it's a time of fellowship with one of our pastors. And so this next one, this coming Tuesday, July the 18th, is going to be at Llewellyn's Pub at 301 Southeast Douglas in Lee Summit. And so the details of that will be in what's happening this week in the announcements. And then the third announcement is about something that's going to happen in July 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th. During the Bible study hour, our pastor David will be teaching a segment on what is a Baptist. And I know that this will be very interesting, and so that the first meeting will be July the 7th. Now, as we gather just to celebrate a new day, this is the day the Lord has given us. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And we need to look around creation and see something that makes you feel that God is in our lives and His love of creation. How has that beauty appeared to you? What might God be growing in you? All of these are wonderful gifts to us, mercies that are new every morning.
The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. When I despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water. And I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting for their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light, leaders obey. Praise every nation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. It's good to be with you this morning, Holmeswood. We celebrate this day and we gather to worship. As we continue in worship, I'd like to teach you the chorus of this next song. It's called We Labor Unto Glory. It goes like this. Oh, we labor unto glory when heaven and earth are one. Oh, we labor unto glory until God's kingdom comes. Let's sing that together. Oh, we labor unto glory. Oh, we labor unto glory when heaven and earth are one. Oh, we labor unto glory until God's kingdom comes. My God, where'er I go, glory. Where I reap and where I sow, glory. When my hand it grits the thorn, glory. In the still and in the storm, the sun it shines and then goes down, glory. Rain it pours and beats the ground, glory. Dust it blows and ends my days, glory. Hearts they burn beneath your gaze, glory. Glory. kingdom comes. My heart, my hands, their kingdom bound, glory, where thorns no longer curse the ground, glory, trim the wick and light the flame, glory, my work it will not be in vain, glory, glory, oh we labor unto glory, when heaven and earth are one, oh we labor unto glory, until God's kingdom comes. Oh, we labor unto glory, when heaven and earth are one. Oh, we labor unto glory, until God's kingdom comes. Until God's kingdom comes. Until God's kingdom comes.
All right, could I have the children who are here this morning come on down to this front pew with me for a children's time? Good morning. Hi, Jacob and Hayden. Right. Good morning, good morning. It is so good, isn't it, church, to have our children with us this morning. We are glad you are here to worship with us. I wonder if any of you have grown taller since last year. Since last summer, when you went to Worlds of Fun, were you able to ride all the rides? No. You know, I was looking it up just so I could tell you. Come here, Hayden, can you stand up here? Let's see if Hayden's 36 inches yet. She's getting there. Hayden's at 43. She's getting close to being able to ride more of the rides. There are rides like roller coasters, I know. Some of them you have to be short enough to ride, but some of them you have to be taller, like the Mamba. Any of you up for that this year? You have to be quite, how many? You have to be 48 inches, right. And this is 48 inches. So you have to be that tall. And there's even one ride out there that you have to be 52 inches to ride. The Patriot. So, I mean, every year we get a little bit taller, don't we? And we get the chance to maybe have even more fun, if you like roller coasters, at Worlds of Fun. Yeah, if you don't, then you're good. Okay. In our Bible story today that Pastor David's going to have us listen to in just a minute, he's going to tell us about when Jesus helps us to think about how we grow inside our hearts with God. And he's going to be using a parable, one of our parables, to help us think about how God helps us grow in loving God ways. And he uses the example of God planting a seed inside of our hearts. Inside of every one of us, we have a seed planted that will be growing, that will grow in us the ways of God. Now, with watching our hearts grow, we don't have a measuring stick like this, do we? So it's kind of hard sometimes to tell, are we growing? Is that seed of love growing in us or not? And I can tell you, I think what we'll learn is that the way we can tell if that seed is growing into a big old plant and helping our hearts grow bigger is that sometimes those people that were maybe hard for us to love, do we have sometimes people that are hard to love? We suddenly become more loving with them. It reminded me of somebody that some people I had a hard time loving when I was your age. I really think memories go back to like 1st and 2nd grade. I didn't like those boys in my class very much. Sorry, boys, hear me out. Those boys in my class, they were loud. They were bossy. They were at recess stinky. I'm telling you, I did not care for them much in first and second grade. I see some smiles from the girls. I think they can relate. And so you know what my friends and I, my girlfriends and I did? We made a club, the Girls Only Club. And do you know what the sign said? No boys allowed. No boys allowed, right? In my club, in the girls' club, because they were just weird. They were stinky, in my opinion, and they were loud, and they were annoying, and they were bossy, and just not as much fun. So no boys allowed. But do you know what? I think my seed was growing. Because eventually, and it was kind of slow, I couldn't even see it happening, but eventually, many of those boys became my best friends. Some of them were friends of mine today. And you know, I'm really kind of glad because slowly and surely those boys, I began to see they could be really good friends. And they could be good teammates, actually. And I'm so glad that God helped that seed grow inside of me so that I could slowly, I'm not saying you have to go home right now, Hayden, and like all the boys, but that it slowly grows, right? And that's a good thing because I have a whole lot more friends in my life now than I did at that time. I even like working with them these days. What do you think? So let's help our seeds to grow so that we can have more fun, just like we have at Worlds of Fun. We have more fun the more roller coasters we can ride. We have more fun the more friends we can have, right? All right, let's pray. Our God, we thank you for the seeds of your kingdom, of your love that you plant inside of our hearts. Help us to take good care of that seed, to be willing to grow with you so that we can have a bigger circle of friends and have lots more fun in this world. In your name we pray, amen. I'm going to ask you all to come over here, and we've got some more coloring to do this week while we listen to the sermon.
Oh
stand and sing together.
All this earth, could all that is lost ever be found? Could a garden come up from this ground at all? You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of us. All around, hope is springing up from this old ground. Out of chaos, life is being found in you. You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of make me new. You are making me new. You make me new. You are making me new. You make me new. You are making me new. You make me new. You are making out of the dust. Oh, you make me new. You are making out of the dust.
When I die, and I'm going to die, spoiler alert, you're going to die. But when I die, feel free to include in my funeral service two songs. One for everyone born. I'd like that song sung at my funeral, if you're okay with that. The second one is, you make beautiful things out of dust. You make beautiful things out of us. This ongoing creation, this inner work that God is doing at all times. There's something uniquely sacred about that. So feel free, when I am lying here, actually I'll be in an urn, when my urn is up here, sing with gusto both of those songs, please. If you haven't figured it out, the theme of today's service is about nature, but it's really not about nature. It's about the ongoing work that God is doing. And we can see that in plant life. We can see that in gardens. We can see that in nature. And Jesus is going to tell a story about gardening and seeds, but he's not really talking about gardening nor seeding. He's talking about faith. He's talking about the work of God. He's talking about the work that you and I participate in, which is his work. It is ongoing. That we have a part to play in it, but at the same time, we are not in ultimate control of it. So the sermon text today is entitled A Seedy life. A seedy life. We're going to be in the first gospel, not the first one that was in the first of our New Testament, the first one that was written. We're in the Gospel of Mark, Mark chapter 4, verses 26 through 34. Where we are in the story of Mark is Jesus has just called the 12 apostles. So they're gathered together. They are trying to figure out what does it mean when Jesus says, "Follow me." Jesus then gets a larger crowd together and does some teaching, and the larger crowd goes away. And now Jesus is talking to the 12, the apostles, the inner circle. And he's telling some parables, telling some stories that if we're paying close enough attention, there's a deeper meaning what's going on in these stories and what is on the surface level. Mark chapter 4, verses 26 through 34. Jesus also said this teaching. Jesus says, the realm of God is as if it is like someone who would scatter seed on the ground, and then they would go to sleep and rise night and day. And the seed would sprout and grow, yet the gardener does not know how it grows. The earth produces of itself first the stalk, and then the head, and then the full grain in the head. But when the grain is ripe, at once the gardener goes in with his sickle because the harvest has come. Jesus then tells another story, another parable, and says, with what can we compare the realm of God, or what parable will we use for it? Why is like a mustard seed, which was sown upon the ground, is the smallest of all seeds of the earth. Yet when it is sown, it grows up and becomes the greatest of all shrubs, and puts forth large branches so that the birds of the air can make nests in its shade. That's a reference back to one of the prophets. And the birds of the air were scoundrels, not good creatures. The birds of the air, the realm of God, is like this thing that grows into a shrub. And the undesirables, the nuisances of the day, come and find their homes in the shade of the shrub. With many such parables, Jesus spoke the word to them as they were able to hear. I love this section of Mark. Jesus did not speak to them except in parables. Pastor David, give it to me straight. What is the answer? Jesus did not speak to them except when using parables. But he did not explain everything to the entire crowd. He spoke in private to his disciples. A seedy life. If you were to walk into our kitchen at the McDaniel house, what you would find is a wall. And on the post of the wall, on one of the walls, there are markings. And this marking happens once a year. On the birthday of each of my girls, they go and stand up straight. They put their head up as tall as it will go. And Aaron and I will take a ruler and from the top of their head, mark on the wall how they are grown, what their height is for that year. Now, you might have a wall like that in your house or in the house in which you grew up. And the curious thing is that every year when we make that marking, I go back and look to see, well, how much has that girl grown this past year? 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches. Every single time there is a difference. There is a growth. And every year I think to myself, I don't remember my daughter growing. I don't remember the day, nor the time, nor the week, nor the month that she jumped from 32 inches to 34 inches. And yet, the marking on the wall is verification that, yes, she has grown. I wonder if an observation like that on physical growth is true in my house and possibly true in your house. I wonder if there's an equal amount of truthfulness in the idea of faith and development. As you look at your past year, or the past 2 years, or 5 years, How have you grown? I don't mean physically nor outwardly. No, I mean inwardly. How are you different today than where you were today 3 years ago? And not just esoterically, but what is more tender inside of you? How has your prayer shifted or deepened or grown or altered? What now breaks your heart or breaks your soul that a handful of years ago was not as tender inside of you? How have you grown? How are you different? As I look at y'all, as I look at us as Holmeswood, I see growth in you collectively as a church people. I hear in your prayers a quality that is different today than what it was 5 years ago. Now, I cannot tell you the date nor the time that that has taken place, but as I look back today from where we were a handful of years ago, I see it and I feel it in the space that there's something qualitatively different about you now than where there was a handful of years ago. Do you sense that as well? Do you feel that too? How do you feel it? What words do you use to describe it? If you're like me, it's hard to explain. It's hard to put into tangible words, but it has undeniably happened. I think this is part of what Jesus is talking about in these parables in this section in the Gospel of Mark, as he's talking about various seeds that are growing. It's as if Jesus is saying there is this dynamism in life. There is a spirit that is growing in each of us. And that spirit that grows has been planted in every single person by the Creator. And sometimes we do not see that growth. Sometimes we do not feel it. Sometimes we don't even trust it. But it's there. Sometimes you wait a really long time, hoping, wondering if it's there at all. Other times, though, it's as if you wake up with a sense of realization that you are different, that you have changed, and you don't know how it happened or when it happened, but you no longer see nor feel nor experience life and faith as you once did. You are now more aware. I might even say you are now more alive. Now, to be clear, when Jesus is telling these stories in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus is not talking about gardening. Not in the real sense. Jesus isn't really talking about a guy or a woman who goes out and scatters seed. No, there's something richer that is going on. He's using garden imagery to talk about something much deeper. He's exploring how God works in each of our lives and how God works in the lives of all of us collectively. The realm of God, Jesus says, well, it's like a garden that has been planted with seeds. And like a seed, there is growth that takes place underground. Now, when the seed is underground, you cannot see the growth. You cannot see the roots taking deeper, that the growth takes time, that there is a lot of waiting. But one day you wake up and you see that something has started to sprout and to grow. First the stalk, Jesus says, then the head, then the full grain. Why, there's always growth, always momentum, and always process. And it doesn't happen just in your life in particular, but it happens in all the lives that are around you. Jesus says, this is what the realm of God is like. It's like continual energy and growing that you might not see until the right time, until it is ready to bloom. A friend was telling me a story the other day. He has a son who is in kindergarten. And the son participated in that science experiment that it seems like most, if not every kindergartner does. Is you plant a butter bean inside of a styrofoam cup to see the bean grow into a plant. My friend said that one day his son came home and he was frustrated, he was sad, and he explored with his son, why are you so sad? And the boy said, well, because everybody else in my class, their plant has grown up. But when I look at my cup, well, it's a styrofoam cup with dirt in it. That's all there is. My friend said this, your job is to water the seed. Your job is to put the cup in light, to make sure that it is not too hot nor too cold. That's your job. But the seed grows on its own. You cannot force it. It will come up when it's ready to grow. You're not in control. You're not in control. Maybe that's helpful wisdom for you and me. Maybe that's helpful wisdom as we consider the realm of God. I mean, it's easy to say you're not in control, but it's much more difficult to embody and to embrace. I mean, from a very early age, you and I are subconsciously taught that to gain control of our lives is to gain a sense of autonomy. When a young child starts to learn how to walk, all of a sudden she has the freedom to explore the world on her own. When a child learns how to make breakfast for himself, to make the cereal, no longer does he have to wait until a guardian wakes up to feed him breakfast. No, now he can feed himself. Over time, we become accustomed to being in control, and there is power in being in control, which maybe is what makes being out of control, no longer in control, so difficult. We feel helpless, unsure. We're in a bit of unfamiliar territory. We do not have the power. We have to trust someone else. I remember when Miriam was born some 7 years ago at Shawnee Mission, Advent. I'll always call it Shawnee Mission. You know what hospital I'm talking about, maybe. She was born early. And so when she was born, she quickly went from the birthing room up to the NICU. I very quickly and briefly saw her. I did not get to hold her. She quickly left our site and went to another floor. The staff said that they would take care of her, but I didn't have control. I had to trust that they said they would do what they said they would do. And while I felt helpless, honestly and curiously, in a strange way, I was not scared. I knew that Aaron and I had placed Miriam in a setting that gave her a really strong chance to survive. She was in a hospital. She was surrounded by people who had trained for years for this type of situation. Aaron and I had placed her in a setting, an environment that would increase her chances for surviving, but ultimately it was out of our hands. What if faith is like that? Maybe the realm of God is a bit like that. Some of the work is unseen. Some of it is ultimately out of our hands. It comes on its own. We do not know how, we do not know when, but we do know that it comes. And we are not passive individuals just letting life happen, go by us. No, we have a part to play in it. Our job is to participate in the ways of Christ. Like a gardener who doesn't know how the seed grows, the gardener still has work to do. It is the gardener's responsibility to plant, to water, to wait, to harvest. Each of us are meant to participate in the work in the realm of God, even though God's work and God's realm are beyond our comprehension. You are to throw yourself into the work of Christ. You, every one of you, are meant to risk, to love, to give, to sacrifice, to wonder, to proclaim, to embody, to listen, to hang on, to hope, to persevere. Your job is not to save the world. Your job is not to save the world. But your job is to do the best that you can with the sliver in the corner of life in which you find yourself. Your job is to embody peace. embody love, embody hope, and the rest is up to God. So what's to come of this work? How long until we see the sprouting and the growing? I don't know. How flush and bountiful will the harvest be? I don't know. That's God's work. That's God's doing. Pastor, what if the seed that is scattered, the love that is embodied, the hope that is proclaimed, what if that is cast aside? What if it is rejected? What if it is ignored? You continue to love. You continue to hope. You continue to work for peace. The rest is not your responsibility. When I think of this kind of life and this kind of faith, I think of a parade from last Saturday here in Kansas City. 32 people from Holmeswood gathered in Westport to live this seedy kind of life. We were surrounded by people who'd been told over and over and over again that you are less than, that you're unworthy, that you're not good enough, that there is a deficiency in you. And most boldly and proudly, those messages come from the church. And yet, this group from Holmeswood wore shirts that said, "You are loved." They held signs that said, "Holmeswood is sorry for the ways that we have failed you." Holmeswood celebrates LGBTQ plus lives. Signs that say LGBTQ plus lives are sacred. What's to come of this work? I don't know. Will Holmeswood see church membership because of this parade? I don't know. Pastor, then why should we do this? Because it's part of what a seedy life looks like. It looks like proclaiming and embodying love. It looks like seeing pain in people's eyes and providing a moment of hope. It looks like scattering hope and peace and letting those things germinate in the soul and being okay with not seeing the result in each person's life, but having the confidence that the work of God is still actually at work. You might say, it looks something like this.
Wanna be there when the voices in your head are loud enough to make you lose your mind. But just the same, when you're dominating the day, I wanna be the one who's by your side. You know my love is not the jealous type. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. Oh, I can stay or I can come, no matter where you're coming from. I can be the one to let you choose. I wanna hold you close but never hold you back, just like the banks to the river. And if you ever feel like you are not enough, I'm gonna break all your mirrors. I wanna be there when the darkness closes in, to make the truth a little clearer. I wanna hold you close but never hold you back, I'll be the banks for your river. For your river, I'll be the banks for your river. You are beautiful and wild at every turn. Who am I to take control of that? But Everybody needs a voice they can follow when the water and the winds get bad. You know my love is not the jealous type, and it don't matter if we win or lose. Well, I can push or I can pull no matter what you're trying to do, as long as I can flow along with you. I wanna hold you close but never hold you back, just like the banks to the river. And if you ever feel like you are not enough, I'm gonna break all your mirrors. I wanna be there when the darkness closes in, to make the truth a little clearer. I wanna hold you close but never hold you back. I'll be the banks for your river.
Jesus the Christ. Christ's embrace is wider than anyone can imagine, and they're committed to the inclusion and affirmation of all people, regardless of race, gender, gender identity, sexual orientation, physical and mental ability, nationality, economic level, or educational foundation. So they fit in here with our theme of the Pride Parade. Thank you, Holmeswood.
Absolutely. I love that little pink car.
But never hold you back, just like the banks to the river. And if you ever feel like you are not enough, I'm gonna break all your mirrors. I wanna be there when the darkness closes in, to make the truth a little clearer. I wanna hold you close but never hold you back, I'll be the banks for your river. I wanna hold you close but never hold you back. If you ever feel like you are not enough, wanna be there when the darkness closes in, to make the truth a little clearer. I wanna hold you close but never hold you back. I'll be the banks for your river.
You're different. You've grown. I don't know when. I can't give you the date nor the time. But you are inherently more like Christ. One of the many reasons why this is such a rich space. The work of Christ is ongoing, never stopping, never ceasing. During this time of response, you're invited to bring your tithes and offerings to the front. You can also use your QR code. I'll be over here on this side if you would like prayer, if we can explore together what does the working of Christ look like inside of you. Maybe you would like to join Holmeswood as a member, or maybe you would like to be baptized, or we can explore that together. May each of us respond collectively together as children of God.
Let's stand together as we respond. You give life. You are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord. bring light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only.
Know that you are loved. Know the work of Christ is active in you. On this Father's Day, happy Father's Day to those of you who are fathers. Happy Father's Day to those of you who are fatherly. I recognize and name the tenderness that today can bring. Days of excitement and laughter, enjoy it. Days of sadness, days of hardness, know that you are in good space no matter where you're experiencing what you're experiencing today. As each of us go from this place, know that Christ is in you. Know that Christ is actively at work through you. As you go from this space, I don't know what the week's going to go, where it's going to take you, or what's going to happen, but I do know that Christ is at work. So may you go from this place as people of love and hope and peace. And may each of us go with this song singing in our soul. Oh, we labor unto glory when heaven and earth are one. Oh, we labor unto glory until God's kingdom comes. Oh, we labor unto glory when heaven and earth are one. Oh, we labor unto glory until God's kingdom comes. Until God's kingdom comes. Until God's kingdom comes.
Amen. Go in peace.